tell you you're the queen of my heart. Please don't deceive me when I hurt you. Just say it the way it seems. Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love buzz? Can you feel my love buzz?
Good morning, my beauties and bees, and welcome to another installment of Live from the Hive. Hi, welcome to my circus. I was told that my followers are the circus yesterday, so y'all get to be the circus now. And I'm about it because that makes me the fucking ringmaster. You better believe it. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, it is September 13th, 2025. And it is a bizarre day. It's now here's the thing. I'm going to make a promise to you guys right now for this show that I will not talk about recent current events that happened. So if you're looking for a place to avoid that topic, stay here, because we are not talking about that. Not talking about that here at all, though I am arguing about it with family in another window. FML. So, hello, and welcome to the show. So, yeah, we will not be covering current events. We're going to be covering fun stuff that we talked about, and we did polls about what you guys wanted to know about, what we wanted to explore or debunk or whatever. This is, for anybody who's new here, Hive Sci. It's a weekly show every Saturday morning. We start things off with a little segment I like to call CrypticCorner. We explore cryptozoology and aliens and ghosts and that kind of stuff. We'll watch videos about it or listen to reports or stories. People presenting the case for the cryptic encounter, and then we kind of pick it apart and try to decide what it could be. So if you're into that stuff, this is a fun place to hang out. Also, then we do Week in Weird, which is for all the fringy stuff that doesn't fit into Cryptic Corner so much, but is still interesting to cover. Conspiracy theories, animal and myths, lost civilizations, that sort of stuff. But I run a poll. I run two polls, and I run them weekly, and they give you the option to choose what we cover the next week. So, like this one. So here's our Week in Weird, right? So on this Week in Weird, the options were tarantism, which is the dancing thing. It used to believe that if you got bit by a tarantula, it would cause you to dance uncontrollably, and then you would eventually you could die from it, and it's called tarantism, and it was also contagious somehow. And then we had crystal power on there, which is going to be about all the wonderful crystal healing stuff. So if you're into that, we'll talk about that. And then we had Vampires to Tartaria, which is the new kid on the block. You all know I love Tartaria, which is this weird conspiracy theory that the timeline was reset in 1776, and that the cities in the New World weren't built but dug out of a mud flood. And there's all kinds of crazy stuff, from Cabbage Patch Kids to orphan trains. It gets wild. We have some knights that, Anyway, so Tartaria is on there, and then we have we had the Snake Charming 101, which was the new kid on the block too. This was the newest topic that we were going to be covering. So, the oldest, not the newest. This is the oldest, the one that's been on here the longest. So, since it tied with the newest on there, which was the vampires, we're going to do the oldest one. Get that taken care of. And I'm excited to do it because we got some fun Snake Charming videos to look at. But before we get into that, we got to do Cryptic Corner. And I also run a poll for Cryptic Corner. And this week we have, on the poll, we have the Goat Man. Not your typical hairy hominid, huh? You want to find out more how he stalks Lover's Lane? You got to vote for that one. Now, we also have the Men in Black, not the Men in Black from the 90s movies and Will Smith and stuff, like the Men in Black from the 60s that were creepy, suspicious, humanoid people pretending to be from government agencies that were, yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about it. You got to vote for that if you want to see that, though. And then we got Phantom monks on here. Apparently that's a thing. Like, there's a lot of cathedrals and monasteries and stuff that are just filled to the brim, up to their ears with phantom monks, and we need to talk about it. You guys see monks walking all over the place. But what won this week was also the newest one on the poll, which doesn't surprise me because this is an interesting topic, is the Ontario Black Panthers. So are there Black Panthers in Canada? We're going to find out today on Cryptic Corner. If you want to participate and vote on these polls, they're posted. Usually I post them on Saturday. Sometimes I like after the show. Because I'm so eager to add the newest stuff to the queue. But sometimes it doesn't get put up until later in the week. Depends on how things are going. So anyhow, we had a full moon. So come to the community page. I also post, silly memes and stuff. Oh, there's my Cryptic Corner alarm. I also post silly memes over here. So you come follow the channel, ring the bell so that you get this stuff in your feed so that you can vote even if you don't see me posting it. Because I'll post this in the Discord and I'll post it in, different places. Sometimes I post it on Blue Sky. I haven't been lately, but mostly I'm just using the Discord and putting it up here, and I'm getting a decent amount of votes. The minimum I want is just a dozen at least to make it more dynamic of a poll. But I digress. We are going to go over to Cryptic Corner, so I'll see you over there. Hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to another installment of Cryptic Corner, where we explore the unexplained, the supernatural, the paranormal and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. I am your hostess, Miss Bumblebee, and today we are doing another mystery big cat. Who's here for that? Because I love myself some mystery cats, if y'all can't tell from my constantly covering them on this segment of the show. We've had so many mystery cats, I couldn't even, I should put together a playlist, I really should, of different mystery cats that I've covered over the years that I've been doing the segment, right? I should put that together. But today's mystery cat it's a black one. They're always black ones when we cover the UK ABCs or alien big cats phenomenon. They're almost always black, always pitch black. The Appalachia Black Panthers, black, right? Of course they are. The Australian mystery cats, some of them are striped, but some of them are black. So, Aw, you dreamed about a lion that loved to snuggle 2 nights ago? Aw. I dreamt that somebody attempted an assassination on Sarah Weiss, and I had to call her or message her and tell her to not be in this place at this time. Because, yeah, I don't believe in woo, but, you know, like, there's a certain level ingrained in me. And sometimes I feel like the things that pop into my head that is some my body trying to tell me something. So take it with a grain of salt, of course. All right, so let's see. We're going to be using Fishing Urban Ontario, of all places, to cover this topic. And if you look, they're not like a cryptid channel, right? I mean, they talk about some fringier stuff sometimes. But you know, like this is real stuff, though. Muskies do attack humans on occasion. I don't think anybody's ever been killed by a muskie. You know, sharks have been caught in the Great Lakes for whatever reason. Their albino moose is real. Mountain lions might be in Ontario. But what we're going to be talking about is this series that he's got going on right now. I guess it started 7 months ago. And it's about Ontario's mystery Black Panthers. So, yeah, he's an outdoorsman channel mostly. Like you see, like urban fishing and stuff like that. You know, but let's go. Let's dig into it. What do y'all say? Are you ready to meet some Ontario big cats?
For the past 3 decades, people of Ontario have been having sightings and close encounters with what they describe as a large black cat, resembling that of a cougar, or rather a black panther. What is really odd, though, about these sightings is that a lot of them are confirmed by the government to be credible. And we even have a confirmed photograph of a melanistic jet.
What is this? Is this April and the 4th of, I guess it's April 18th, 2010. Now, to me, this is just to me, you know, feel free to disagree. I'd love the disagreements in the comments down below. You all know I love that. I love when you all come at me. So go ahead and do that. Light me up in the comments. But to me, this looks like a domestic black cat. The head to body proportions. The spine. Everything about the proportions to me says this is a domestic cat. Again, feel free to disagree with me. This is a domestic cat, in my opinion. Should I? Boop, 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 boop. Do, 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 do. Let's see. And they say it's a jaguar, so let's look at a black jaguar. Let's look at a black jaguar, because why not? Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. We're going to pull that one over. Give me just a second. I'll get y'all a picture. Let's open image in new window. Come on. There we go. All right. So This is a black jaguar. Okay, so I mean, it gives you an idea what they look like. Their proportions. They're very, very powerful forelimbs and compared to their hind limbs, because these are a big. They're wrestlers. They jump in. I'm sure you've seen videos. They jump in the water and wrestle caiman and stuff. They have really powerful forelimbs compared to their hind limbs, even. And their head, while large for a pantherine, I think it's the largest proportional for the pantherine. That's because they got these mighty jaws, because they crack turtle shells and bite through crocodile armor, right? So when you look at this, right? When you look at this, do you see a jaguar? Be honest. Oh my, oh me, oh me, oh my. There's no such thing as a melanistic cougar. Not a thing. Unfortunately, we'll talk about that more. But it is a more realistic option. There's no melanistic cougars, though. Not scientifically verified anyway. They're sort of like a Maltese tiger, sort of legendary big cat. If you don't know what a Maltese tiger is, and you think that I should cover Maltese tigers, or sometimes just called blue tigers, in a future video, drop a tiger emoji in the side chat if you'd like that to be something we cover in the future. Maltese tiger, but what did Ember say? Because Equus said they would trust Ember. Ooh, yeah, Maltese tigers are an interesting topic, and it's crazy because I believe I'll have to pull up the records though, but there's like historical records of blue tigers, but there's like no modern account, and that's the craziest part, right? Like, I would love to see a blue tiger. I love a Maltese tiger is what they're called, and they're not called Maltese because they're from Malta. They're called Maltese because of the color, Maltese blue. Oh, you're mixing me and Ember up. We both are hot bitches, so that's okay. You can mix some hot bitches up. Let's continue on.
Jaguar, which was taken outside of Guelph, Ontario in 2010. Come with me now as I examine the evidence of cougar sightings and jaguar sightings in southern Ontario.
Is that Kip Davis? Good morning, Cap. Dr. Kill. I love your outro music, by the way. I was sitting in here hanging out with my roommate, Bo, last night, and your stream was on, and we are just kind of hanging out. It was like you and Vish, and I think it was Josh on there. Anyway, we were just like hanging out, but then it was like, no offense, but like background noise, like just like hanging out and talking. We have some stuff going on in the house and whatnot. But anyway, your outro music came on, right? And I'm just like, oh, gonna lose my top hat. Oh. Stay on. I had to, yeah. By the way, yeah, I wore this at the Spirit a couple weeks ago and took some pictures, and it was super cute. And somebody was like, "Hey, buy that hat." So, you will get your pictures. I think I don't know if my benefactor who bought me this is gonna be here. But if you are here, you will get this, get those pictures you requested. So appreciate you. Yeah, I have no filter. I am insane.
From my own research, I have personally received over 30 separate sightings of large black cats in Ontario. Additionally, I have also been able to find over a dozen newspaper headlines of people spotting a large black cat. Since I always map out every sighting I receive, one thing became obvious. Some of these sightings all happen in the same general area, almost creating like a hotspot.
Okay, so I do want to say too that I'm not saying that these sightings can't be mountain lions. Just mountain lions sighted in poor lighting conditions could be misconstrued as black, but we're going to see that a lot of this is domestic cats and dogs. Like when they show, there's like, well, we'll see. There are some credible Black Panther sightings especially in the eastern United States that I find very compelling, right? Maybe there is a black cougar population that hasn't been identified. Maybe there's some mutation that can occur very super rarely. But as of right now, it's not scientifically recognized as a thing that actually does happen. Sort of, yeah, like again, the Maltese tiger. Right?
As it were. Although the amount of sightings I currently have at this point in time is limited, let's go over what I have learned so far in the past 3 weeks.
And Ember, this isn't to scare you, because I know that this is sort of in your neck of the woods. So just on the Canadian side, so you should not have to worry about black panthers in Western New York.
Starting with hotspot number 1, we have southwest of London. There's some sightings around Kamoka, around the reservation, and Port Stanley actually. Hotspot number 2 would actually be Oshwegan. But what's very interesting about these two sightings is they're practically right next to each other. The first sighting actually shut down a school in 2022. I shouldn't say shut down though. They closed a recess, but they report seeing a big black cat with a long tail. And for the second sighting, I was sent this video by someone on Facebook.
I love when they bring up the videos and pictures. Okay, so what are we looking at here? Some sort of form. That's a thick tail. Or is that the back leg?
And this video was taken literally just down half a block from the last sighting. I'll leave it up to you what you think it is in the video, whether half a block from the last sighting. Taken literally just down half a block from the last sighting. I'll leave it up to you what you just down half a block from the last sighting.
While we reel through this over and over again. I'm thinking that also looks like a domestic cat. What do y'all think? And it doesn't look particularly black either. It looks sort of like a dark gray. So it could be a cougar, but it seems awful small. But it's hard to scale this. None of these trees look very mature, though. They all look like saplings. Okay. Unmute.
Actually having a lot of sightings would be Niagara on the Lake. And Niagara on the Lake is actually having a lot of sightings, some of them which are recent and making newspaper headlines. Hotspot number 4 would actually be a little triangle from Oakville to Guelph to Brampton. And in that little area, that's where we had our confirmed sighting. And where we
That's a confirmed sighting of a cat. Photograph. This says photograph of a melanistic jaguar taken by a trail cam in 2010. But again, this is what a melanistic jaguar looks like, right? Not like that. Like that.
We also have had very recent sightings of black cougars, and even made a newspaper headline of a woman, I believe, who ran into one in Oakville Park. Hotspot number 5 would be Port Perry down to almost north of Oshawa. For some reason, right in that little stretch there, we've had some black cougar sightings. Hotspot number 6 would actually be around Perth to Jasper. A lot of the locals there have claimed to see them for years, claiming they're actually breeding as well. Some outdated spots that have had sightings, but not for decades now, would be the Wellandport area to Fort Erie. They had some sightings, but since these cats only live
there was
for
another picture. Was that
Erie, they had some sightings.
That's that same one.
Since these cats only live for I'm not taking them seriously at this point. Another area would be a few minutes east of Aurelia in Wyville. The other sightings that I know of so far are just kind of scattered, and they're not really a hot spot, I would say. If you are aware of another hot spot in southern Ontario or on...
So, I mean, I'm not trying to be super dismissive or anything, but none of the pictures that we've seen so far have been, or videos have been convincing that we're looking at a jaguar at all. I think that that the photo that she keeps showing is very clearly a domestic cat, a domestic black cat.
Ontario as a whole, please reach out to my email at fishingurbonontario@gmail.com, or let me know in the comment section down below. Now that we have gone over the evidence, it has become unlikely that most or all of these sightings are misidentified animals. Clearly, people are seeing most or all of these. Now that we have gone over the evidence, it has become
saying these dog videos?
that most or all. Now that we have gone over the evidence, it has become unlikely that most or all of these sightings are over the evidence.
That's a dog,
it has become
and that
unlikely
is a dog.
that most or all of these sightings are misidentified animals. Clearly, people are seeing some kind of a big black cat. So let's go over 3 theories on why these sightings are happening and where these animals could be coming from. So let's start with theory number 1.
Theory
And
1.
this is the official government.
Okay. A total of 52 credible black cougar sightings were reported in Ontario during the period of 1991 to 2010. 1 in the northwestern region, 15 in the northeastern region, 9 in the southwestern region, and 27 in the southeastern region. These were not classed as there is no record of black cougars occurring in North America. They were assumed to be escaped exotic animals.
Stance on these sightings. They believe that these animals likely were purchased outside of Canada, perhaps locations such as Texas, and later released over the border into our rural areas. However, this theory presents challenges, because if they're all domesticated pets that got released, these pets would have no hunting experience and would tend to seek out humans who look similar to their former owners, at least, for survival. Also, if it is a jaguar, jaguars are not capable of surviving our winter season. They're tropical animals, and these sightings have...
Calling a jaguar a tropical animal. So they used to live. They live in the desert here, and I live in the western U.S. and there's jaguars here, and specifically in Arizona in the mountains. So they live in. They do like specific climes. However, Canada he's probably right about it being a little bit out of the healthy range for a jaguar to thrive, right? But because even the jaguars that live in North America don't really move into an area where it has freezing winters, at least not like consistent freezing winters. It might get below freezing at night in the mountains where they live, but okay. Your knot book. Okay. Kip's working on the knot book. Well, I mean, it literally just having a cold, frozen winter.
Have been happening for decades now. They clearly could not survive that long. Our second theory on these sightings is one that scientists hate because there's no proof for it yet at this time. Some speculate that cougars, just like jaguars, may be capable of melanism, resulting in black.
Notice how all the pictures of the black jaguar
Cougars, just
black
like jaguars,
are either photoshopped. This one's a classic, and it's quite old.
May be capable of melanism, resulting in black fur. Although no confirmed cases of black cougars exist at this point in time. However, the possibility still remains open. Our last theory is a simple one.
Okay, and another thing about the black cougars is even if we had black cougars, the phenotypic coloration of cougars, of all cougar populations, have a buff cream underside. So even if they were to have a melanistic coat on the back, they'd still have a lighter underside. It might not be as buff and creamy as a regular cougar, but it's going to have a counter shading, and because all cougars have counter shading as adults. I mean, again, it could be a mutation, sure, but generally speaking, they're not going to be solid black, even if they have that coloration. And you can see that with the jaguar, with the jaguar too. They're not actually solid black. You can still see the rosettes underneath the melanin, right? There's still darker melanin here than there is here, for instance, so you still see the rosettes. That's how it works. Now, leopards, they will be like pretty solid black.
One. It may be that, simply put, cougars may appear black at times due to the way that their fur interacts with light. Watch this video, for example. Since it's far away and hopping in and out of the shade, at some points the coat looks black, but then looks a little more brown.
Cougar. Where's this? Okay, and this is not a black cougar either. It's the way this is what their fur is supposed to do. It's supposed to turn them into a shadow. Buff and creamy. Yeah, I would watch that, Aunt Jer. It's what their fur has evolved to do. So, of course it's going to turn them into a shadow. And that's why people I think this is the most common reason for black panther sightings.
People may have very likely have seen a big cat, but just not a black one, which led to the misidentification. However, this theory could not hold up for sightings made up close in broad daylight. So what do you think?
Yes, it could. That one you just showed was in broad daylight.
Is it theory number 1, theory number 2, 3, or do you think it's none of these at all? Either way, let me know, as this topic is definitely up for debate, and we could benefit from everyone's take on this. If you enjoyed this video, I would encourage you to subscribe, as I'm going to be making more videos on this topic in the future, and if you enjoyed this one, you're not going to want to miss the ones that I'm making. So stay tuned, thanks for watching, and take care.
Alright, that's video 1. There's 2 of them that this guy put together. So, alright, and then we'll do this one. Same producer. This is an ongoing investigation, and as more information comes forward, these theories are subject to change.
In 2010, An OMNR worker, Rick Rosette, was studying cougar sightings from across southern Ontario in hopes of gathering evidence of them being present in the province. During his investigation, he made a startling discovery. His team captured a photograph on one of their trail cams, which they confirmed to be a melanistic jaguar, or as you could say, a black panther, as all big cats with melanism can be referred to as black panther.
Okay, hold on just a second here. There's this picture again. Yeah, I'm still convinced that this is a house cat. A domestic. It could be a cougar. I don't think it is. The head portion's kind of large for a cougar, and the tail is a little short for a cougar. The leg portions are definitely more cougar-like than jaguar-like, as I keep referring back to. Jaguars have like incredibly powerful forelimbs. They're not really arms, but I mean they wrestle with them like they're arms. Look how buff these are, though, and then look how dainty, yeah, compared to the back legs. Anyway,
Panther, as all big cats with melanism can be referred to as black panthers, as that's a term for them.
Yeah, and that's true. Black panther is not a it's not a species. Black panther is a melanistic condition of a big cat. The two species that are known to display such characteristics are the jaguar of South, Central, and North America, and the leopard of Africa and Asia, and I believe into far Eastern Europe. Let me go back real quick and look at that.
With melanism can be referred to as black panthers, as that's a term.
There we go. Yeah, well, I guess not anymore. They used to, all the way up into antiquity, leopards and lions, for that matter, used to live all up in here. So they were indigenous to Europe. I don't know if they were black in Europe, though. They're more, the black leopards are most common in this part of Asia right here. Right? They're very rare in Africa, actually. And they are black jaguars are more common in the Amazon basin.
For them. Sadly, Rick's further investigation into this was canceled. However, the evidence on this topic has only increased throughout the past 15 years. Just like Rick, my own personal investigation started with cougars and mountain lions, which are the same animal, of course. But like him, people started bringing forth evidence of black panthers as well. And at first, I didn't buy it. I just thought it was local folklore. However, it got to the point where 1 in 4...
Now, lions cannot be black naturally. At least not as far as we know. They can be black if you... Well, they aren't a lion then, but if you crossbreed a jaguar with a lion, they can be black. Pretty kitties. Yes, Chrissy, we love the pretty kitties. Mm-hmm. Yep.
First sightings people were giving to me were black panthers, and people continued sending me occasional video evidence, which was pretty convincing. As I kept seeing more and more evidence of this kind of stopped being
Come on now.
As I kept seeing more and more evidence of this.
Are you kidding me?
This kind of stopped.
Are you fucking kidding me?
As I kept seeing more and more evidence of this kind of stopped being.
That is a freaking house cat. Oh my goodness.
Something that I could just dismiss as being folklore. This kind of stopped being something that as I kept seeing more and more evidence of this kind of stopped being
cat.
something.
That looks like a dog. Look at the proportions. Look at those skinny hips. Broad rib cage with big lungs for cursorial pursuit, because dogs are cursorial pursuit predators, not ambush predators. So they have a big old rib cage, and there's barely any tail to be seen. Little doggy tail. Little doggy tail. Look at that. Little doggy tail.
I could just dismiss as being.
Now that is also
of this
house cat.
This kind of stopped being something
dog.
that I could just dismiss.
House cat. What are we doing here? I really wanted this to be good evidence, right?
This as being folklore. There seemed to be a lot of legitimate proof of this being a legit thing.
What the is that?
So, this has just built up so much curiosity in me for this topic, as I have decided to start another new series on the channel, Discovering Ontario's Black Panthers. I'm going to go across...
I'm not convinced by any of this stuff so far. Let me know if you guys are, though.
Southern Ontario to locations where these animals have been filmed, and I'm going to set up baited cameras there and cover any news regarding these animals. Keep in mind, of course, that the video evidence I have received so far is blurry. Sadly, it's just how it goes. Our phones can only really zoom in so far without losing its HD quality. So if you don't really buy it yet, don't worry about it. The purpose of the series is just to build up interest in the possibility of these animals being present in Southern Ontario, and also just doing my best to capture undeniable video evidence of these animals. So without further ado, let's get into this topic more. You may find it interesting to learn that invasive black panthers, or leopards rather, is not really an unproven thing on the world scene. For example, the UK currently has a big debate going on whether they have an invasive leopard population. And there's a lot of credibility to this, especially since the government confirmed 6 different occasions where they gathered leopard DNA. 2 of these were recently, where a leopard had just killed a sheep and they tested the nearby environment and found leopard hair. It's really quite an interesting rabbit hole of the internet if you want to dive right into it. There's that.
So, yeah, I mean, he's talking about the British big cat phenomena, which in the 60s and 70s, different legislation was passed that required people to register and get licensing and meet minimum caretaking requirements for their big cats. And this goes way back, and I'm weird, circus thing. I'm really into like the history of menageries and circuses and stuff. And they sort of have their root in this British tradition of the aristocracy having exotic animals just roaming their gardens, right? Like, and I'm talking tigers and leopards and bears and things, not just peacocks and giraffes, right? They would have these creatures roaming their gardens. Like, they didn't know how to care for them or anything. It was just a sign of power. They'd throw them, a chicken to eat or whatever, and call it good. They didn't have any kind of care standards. So this continued on up, actually, into the 1950s. And people were mauled all the time in these garden parties and stuff, because it was a sign of just you were the cream of the crop if you had a tiger roaming in your garden while you were having a tea party, right? And the poor servants that worked for these people, they were like, just common, like British commoners or whatever. And they're like, oh, the stable hand or whatever, we're hiring you to take care of the horses. Okay, yeah, You know, I was raised to take care of horses. Also, we have 3 tigers and a lion that you need to take care of as well. And it's like, what the fuck? You know, the horse guy gets tasked with taking care of free roaming garden lions, right? Holy shit. So then in the the 60s roll around, and animal rights activism and stuff starts to become a real sticking point. So laws get enacted to say, hey, you can't have these things just roaming your garden anymore. If you have them, you have to have a license to have them. They have to meet certain, veterinary requirements. They have to meet certain housing and safety requirements for you to be able to keep them. And then the people that didn't want to go through all that hassle was like, well, fuck that. I'm just going to let it go. And they take them out to the woods and dump them. And so for about a decade after this legislation was passed, you just had big cat sightings all over the UK. Tigers, lions, leopards, jaguars, mountain lions, lynxes. And some of them were shot. And they were actually, yes, this is a released pet of somebody. So do with that what you will. But the same thing could happen in Canada, I suppose. But in Canada, Ontario, Canada, is a little bit colder, I think.
Actually, 2 areas on the globe where there's a lot of these Black Panther sightings as well. There's a ton of sightings that happen in Victoria, Australia. And that's kind of like a big province in Australia. That's Melbourne's province. There's also a lot of sightings that happen in the southern United States. And there's a lot of people there who are trying really hard to prove that they're present in the countryside.
Now, I would be more willing to believe that they're seeing big black cats in Texas, because jaguars used to live in Texas up until the 1920s, right? They lived in the mountains in Texas. And yeah, they have melanistic populations. Their melanistic populations are rare north of the equator, but they do exist.
The only 2 animals which are illegal to own in Ontario would be a pit bull and an orca. So because of this, Southern Ontario has kind of...
Wait, you can't own an orca in Canada? What kind of fascist nonsense is that? And you can have a Siberian tiger, but you can't have a pit bull.
Created a black market for exotic animals like big cats. And it is estimated that in Canada as a whole, there is over 186,000 big cats, ranging from servals to tigers. And speaking of tigers, Canada actually has a population of 2,300 captive tigers, 713 of which are present in Ontario. The more you know, eh? New bylaws
Oh, that was so Canadian. The more you know, eh?
have been put in place in recent years, but the damage is kind of done, as for decades there was absolutely no laws regarding pet ownership. If people are releasing kangaroos and alligators, you can better believe they're releasing big cats as well. Why? Well, because
people are just careless and cruel to animals.
There's a lot of unexpected high maintenance with these animals. They're dangerous, of course, because they can kill you if they want to. And a lot of people don't know that big cats actually have the habit of spraying. So if you have a big cat like that in your home, eventually your whole house would be coated with its urine. So something like that might...
Yeah, and then the again, these aristocrats with their menagerie, that stable hand's job to clean that up.
Motivate you to let the animal free. And also, it's expensive to feed these things. These things need a lot of meat all the time. And perhaps people could also be afraid of getting trouble by the authorities. For all these reasons...
So, Ember, the eastern cougar was declared extinct in 2011. I believe it was 2011. The problem with pit bulls is the humans that own them. Absolutely. Breed-specific laws are animal racism, basically. Yeah.
Likely, they're buying these cubs, they're raising them, but due to unexpected things, they're releasing them out into our wilds. So, the word on the street for big cats is that they typically sell for $5,000 to $20,000. And if it were me and I wanted to buy a jaguar or a leopard, I really wouldn't want the typical Amazonian coat. I would be like Bruce Wayne, you know, does it come in black? I would want the black coat so I felt like I had my money's worth. And if it looked more like...
Okay, a house cat. I was going to say, that is a house cat, but thank you for acknowledging that that's a house cat, I was about to say. But, yeah, exotic pet people do prefer the rare the rare phenotypes, right? They want the melanistic and albinos and stuff like that, or I guess you don't really see very many I always get this word mixed up. It's the red coloration. Erythisistic?
Just a big house cat, right? So for these reasons, it's very likely that the source of Southern Ontario's Black Panther sightings is from the exotic pet trade. What also is very interesting about big cats is if you call the local zoos in the area, some of them will talk to you and they'll confirm that when it comes to the winter time, they don't bring them inside. All year, these animals are out in the cold and they're doing just fine. So the question isn't...
Yeah, I mean, they have access to heating pads and shelter houses and stuff. They can still go outside. Most animals will enjoy playing in the snow for some extent of time, but it doesn't mean that they're adapted to survive in that environment when and sustain themselves in that environment.
If it will survive the cold. The question is, will this animal be capable of killing enough prey to sustain itself? And really, when you narrow that down, there's only a couple animals which likely will be able to live out in our forest. It can't be lions or animals which
Yeah, okay, this is fine. Yeah. I don't have any problem with this. Just looking at the differences it's pointing out between leopards and jaguars, making sure that I don't have anything to bitch about.
likely will be able to live out in our forest. It can't be lions or tigers if they escape, because there's no way they'd ever be able to kill enough prey to sustain themselves. However, something which requires even less food perhaps than our local native cougars do might do just fine. Something perhaps like a melanistic leopard, or perhaps, if it's handy and capable enough, a melanistic jaguar. People
If it's handy and capable enough, what does that even mean?
may wonder if there's big cats being released from all across Southern Ontario from exotic pet ownership. Why are people only seeing black panthers? Now, the answer is actually really interesting to that.
This is your speculation, though. This is your hypothesis. Don't say, oh, this is the answer.
And in summary, it's because out of all the big cats, only black panthers have the best shot of surviving our climate and capturing prey.
That's not true. I would say a snow leopard would probably do a little bit better in Ontario than a black jaguar.
Let me explain. You see,
like a Siberian tiger would probably do a lot better in Canada than a jaguar would. As a matter of fact, I think most big cats, I don't know.
Southern Ontario actually has another animal which is completely black and does just fine here. And that would be the black bear. Now,
Could that be because it's an omnivore?
Black bears have black fur because they have melanin in it. And with big cats, big black panthers, they are black because they also have an abundance of melanin. And that's why they're referred to as melanistic.
Yeah, but when you look at melanistic trends among big cats, it's an equatorial trend. The more likely they are to be melanistic is the closer they are to the equator. Like if you look at the distribution, let me see. there a map for us? Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Okay. It's going to be kind of pixelated, but that'll be all right. Okay, so we're going to look at all right. It's pixelated, but it should be good enough for y'all to make out what it is. So the red is the density. And the distribution, as you can see, for black jaguars is very limited and very, very equatorial, right? Like if you see them all go all the way up here, but this is very equatorial. I don't even see any red in here. Maybe there's a little red spot right there. But, and this also applies to, here we go. This also applies to, oh, come on. That's not what I wanted to do. Why does it keep saying it's downloading it? Hold on, let me open it with the browser. Hold on. I got the leopard one here too, is what I'm trying to pull out. Sorry, keeping y'all waiting while I do this, but okay, here we go. Yeah, we'll just pull this over. I have to go to the website, the ecology website, to get it. It wouldn't let me open it just regularly. But again, distribution of leopards, right? Distribution of black leopards, equatorial. So it's kind of a weird theory to say that only black ones can survive in the colder climates, because it seems like black coloration is neotropical.
So scientists believe that black bears have a black coat, so that in the wintertime they absorb as much heat as possible. See where I'm going with this? It would be hard for an animal to survive in Canada if it didn't have a black coat, if it didn't have some advantage to help stay warm in the cold winters. Now, that's just my own personal theory. Like, as I tell you guys often, like, just...
Yeah, but I just showed you, I mean, hopefully, maybe you'll watch this. If you do, hi. Thanks for dropping in. But I don't think that theory holds up, just based on the distribution maps that we just looked at.
Remember, I'm not a scientist. I'm just a guy on YouTube, and I'm really just figuring this out as I go along. However, I do feel that is something worth considering. So then the question would be, which of these big cats are most likely our new invasive species? And at this point in time, in truth, I really don't know for certain. I know I've speculated that Indian leopards are the most likely animal, and that very likely is true. However, I was looking at that from an animal smuggling source perspective, and now I'm looking at this project from an exotic pet that got released instead perspective. And so likely whatever invasive animal is in our backyards has to be the one which has the highest numbers in captivity in Ontario. That's likely our culprit. Of course, we have some theories which we are working on. One would be that it's the African leopard, due to how African leopards are kept a lot in captivity. Another one would be jaguars, as of course Rick Rosette's photograph, he personally believes the animal to be a jaguar. And another idea would be...
I believe the animal to be a domestic cat, though. I think I've made that clear.
What I've said in previous videos, that of Indian leopards, because of how well they adapt to colder environments, as they're currently native to cold areas of the Himalayas. I'd actually really...
And they are the most often black The most melanistic of the big cats are Indian leopards.
Tell you your guys' thoughts on this. If you could, let me know what species you think it is in the comment section down below. As
Domestic cat and dogs. Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get down to the bottom of this soon, but we need a little bit of help from you guys. Now, some people believe all of these sightings are black cougars, melanistic cougars, but the problem with that is there's never been a recorded and verified melanistic cougar in all of history. So we're basically talking about a unicorn here. It's a horse, but it has a horn, right? Like it's
I agree. A melanistic cougar is a unicorn.
Cougar, but it's black. It's never been recorded, and studies go back at least 100 years. For example, albino cougars are a real thing, but it is estimated that only one cougar out of 10,000 individuals is born an albino. So mutations like this in cougars,
white cougars are so pretty too,
are ridiculously rare. And also, a second thing to consider is, according to scientists, if a black cougar was born, it probably would not be pitch black. And the problem with that is...
Oh, good. He's going to talk about it. The counter shading thing.
The videos I am receiving from the public are pitch black. It's estimated that these animals would have a gray underbelly and a little bit of brown still in their coat. So,
like how the leopards and jaguars still have some, you can still see the spots in their coats.
It's not what's getting reported. With modern technology, if these animals were that common, they would have not remained undiscovered. We would know about it. We would know that there's black cougars, that cougars can turn melanistic. But the ratio is too high. It's too high. So clearly, something other than the rare genetics of animals has to be in play in Ontario. There has to be more than just that.
This is like, people are citing something. No doubt, but every time that there's a video of it, it's like a dog or a cat. Or like, a house cat.
Which brings me back to invasive species. Keep in mind too, like news reports do comment about escaped animals all the time. So I have to also take that into consideration as well. So until the impossible gets proven, I have to stick to the plausible. And if someone genuinely does find a melanistic cougar in the future, I may have to retract some of my sentences, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the same ground there. If the melanistic cougar does pop up and if someone shoots one or catches one or traps one gets found on the side of a road, whatever, I will eat my words. I will eat my hat.
But until that point, I got to stick to what is most likely. So now that we have gone over the suspects for these Black Panther sightings, I do have a special request to make of you guys. If you have ever seen a waist-high black cat with a really long tail, please don't keep it to yourself. Let me know, guys. I really need that information. I need to know where I need to set up my cameras, right? So please let me know the exact location where it was spotted, and also let me know the year that you saw it. Reach out to my email at fishingurbonontario@gmail.com.
Any of my Ontario audience members, go ahead and do that.
Or the comment section down below, or my friend's Facebook group, Big Cat Southern Ontario, if you'd like. Don't worry, all submissions, all sightings are always left anonymous. And I really would appreciate your help once again. But let's talk about just that. Let's talk about someone who submitted a sighting to me and how I was able to use it to my full benefit to gather evidence of big black panthers being present in Southern Ontario.
Okay, here we go.
This really is cool, guys, this footage. If I had any doubts personally of black panthers being present in Ontario, this got rid of it.
What the is that?
A dog.
I actually drove 3 hours away to Sterling, Ontario, and
Guy, that's a dog.
I got some wonderful comparison videos to help scale the animal and give some size. So I hope you guys
Scale the dog.
find it really cool. Let me show you what I did. All right, everyone. So if you look behind me here, the background is the
And I'm
same.
not throwing shade. This guy is doing like legit cryptozoology here. I really appreciate what he's doing here. I'm not trying to throw shade, but yeah, that's definitely a dog.
As that exact video, there's even this branch here which has lied down on the ground in the exact same formation, untouched since a week ago. There's that stump right there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk down there, and I'm going to take the same path that that black cat took, in hopes of kind of giving
You're poisoning the well by calling it a black cat. It was a dog.
guys a little bit of a size comparison to help gauge exactly how big that animal was.
Why don't you want me to be able to have an orca, Al? Dog.
So here's the sign. Here I am, I'm about 5'9". Give you a little bit of scale. This was a big cat, guys. This was a big animal.
Or it was a dog. It was a doggo.
That should prove that we cannot say for certain anymore that there are no predatory apex predator black panthers out in southern Ontario. That footage, even though it's very blurry, kind of tells us what it was, especially if you slow down the motion of the video and look at that tail spread out across the floor. If you keep your eye on that black dot there on the ground, you will see that the black dot behind the tail is moving as well, which means it's part of the tail. The grass is covering
or the tail is ruffling the foliage, and whatever that black dot is part of the foliage being ruffled with it. That's a possibility too.
But that whole thing is a long tail, a long body. And house cats do not have a tail that grows that long. The only things it could be is either invasive leopards or black cougars.
You heard something in the woods,
Something in
y'all.
the bush freaking me out. I'm yelling very loudly. There shouldn't be anything in the bush. What's over there?
What do you mean there shouldn't be anything in the bush? You're in Ontario, or Ontario. I say it both ways depending on the inflection. There's moose and deer and bears. 2 species of bears. I think there's timber wolves. There's coyotes now that have moved into the area. There are squirrels and birds and raccoons. Lots of critters.
Let's go over there now and let's set up a camera in hopes of one day capturing really great HD footage of that animal. I tell you, this is smelly. Look at that, look at that. You're a kitty kitty. Let's just smell this place up like meat, you know?
He's like rubbing the meat.
Now that the trail cam is all set up, I'm back home, and there's really only one thing left to do, and that is just to wait, guys. These trail cams, you just have to place them and let a lot of time go by, right? Eventually, you'll see all the animals, no doubt, in that area, across in front of that camera. And if you want to see what that camera captures, there's really only one way you'll be able to do that, and that is if you hit the subscribe button down below. Now, if you don't hit that button, you're not going to get notified.
You're doing real cryptozoology, and I love it, sir. I'm just going to hit the subscribe button. I'm going to ring the bell so that I can see what's going on. Because even though I disagree with some of your conclusions that you're drawing, I really appreciate the actual cryptozoology that you're partaking in. It's like, this is what people need to be doing. This is real cryptozoology. This isn't freaking Todd Standing grifting nonsense. This is someone actually saying, hey, there's the phenomena. Let's figure out what's going on. So I appreciate you fishing urban Ontario. Matter of fact, I'll let you finish shilling.
About new videos on the series or this channel as a whole. And that'd be a total loss. So I'd suggest for you guys to hit the subscribe button down below. You don't want to miss out. If you guys perhaps also want to volunteer your time for these projects, reach out to my email, fishingurbonontario@gmail.com. We could use a lot of help, of course, as there's a lot of things to do, a lot of sightings to report, and a lot of trail cams that need to be placed. Speaking of trail cams,
Ontario's a far away from me, though.
if you are a company that produces trail cams, don't hesitate to reach out to me if you would like your product to be advertised on this channel. I would love to have a sponsor that I could recognize as being the official trail cam of this channel. I think that'd be really cool, and I think it would help you guys add a lot of positive publicity to your product. But reach out to my email if you're interested, fishingurbonontario@gmail.com. I'd love to work with you. And until the next video, guys, all I can really tell you is thanks for watching. I really do try and keep this as interesting, fun, and informative as I possibly can.
Appreciate you guys.
And I really hope you have enjoyed the video. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and take care.
Again, I didn't see anything that I found convincing that that it was actually a big cat, but I am intrigued, and I am subscribed now. So this was 3 months ago, so we have to check back in after and see if his trail cam's ever caught anything. I mean, he has Bigfoot stuff on here too, so I mean, it gives you like an idea of where the dude stands on some of the cryptozoology things. He's been doing this for years. Look at 9 years is how long he's been on this. I guess he's really amped up here in the last year with putting out stuff. So good on him. 21K subscribers, 66 videos. They're doing a lot better than I am. So I'll give you props for that. But what do you guys think? What do you all think about Ontario's mystery big cats? Are they a real thing? Are they something that's going to be discovered in the near future? Is it going to be a invasive leopard or jaguar? Is it going to be a melanistic cougar? Is it going to be something else entirely? You let me know in the comments down below. Please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. All right, live from the Hive audience. Don't go anywhere. We are only getting started here today, so we got snake charming coming up next. Now, I did run a poll while we were doing Cryptic Corner there, and it turns out that giant ravens are very popular, so we were going to be adding that to the poll, which was kind of what I had in mind anyway, but I digress. Yep, Ravens win. Ravens win the Super Bowl against the Tigers and the Wolves. Yeah. But the next episode won't necessarily be the Ravens, so I was just going to add that to the poll just to be clear. All right. And yeah, I'm going to do an intermission, and then we're going to jump right into the ancient art of snake charming. So I will see you guys over there in just a few minutes. A
cool summer morning in early June is when the legend began. At a nameless logging camp in Wexford County where the Manistee River ran, 11 lumberjacks near the Garland Swamp found an animal they thought was a dog. In a playful mood, they chased it around till it ran inside a hollow log. A logger named Johnson grabbed him a stick and poked around inside. Then the thing let out an unearthly scream and came out and stood upright. None of those men ever said very much about what ever happened then. They just packed up their belongings and left that night, were never heard from again. It was 10 years later in '97 when a farmer near Buckley was found. Slumped over his plow, his heart had stopped. There were dog tracks all around. None of those men ever said very much about whatever happened then. They just packed up their belongings and left that night, were never heard from again. It was 10 years later in '97 when a farmer near Buckley was found. slumped over his plow. His heart had stopped. There were dog tracks all around. 7 years passed with the turn of the century. They say a crazy old widow had a dream of dogs that circled her house at night, that walked like men and screamed. In 1917, a sheriff who was out walking found a driverless wagon and tracks in the dust like wolves had been a-stalking. Near the roadside, a 4-horse team lay dead with their eyes open wide. When the vet finished up his examination, he said it looked like they died of fright. In 37, a schooner captain said several crew members had recorded a pack of wild dogs roaming Bowers Harbor. His story was never reported. In 57, a man of the cloth found claw marks on an old church door. The newspaper said they'd been made by a dog. He'd have had this stood 7'4". In 67, a van load of hippies told a park ranger named Quinlan they'd been awakened in the night by a scratch at the window. There was a dog been looking in and grinning. In 77, there were screams in the night near the village of Bel Air. Could have been a bobcat, could have been the wind. Nobody looked up there. Then in the summer of 87, near Luther, it happened again. At a cabin in the woods, it looked like maybe someone had tried to break in. There were cuts around the doors that could only been made by very sharp teeth and claws. Pete didn't wear shoes cause he didn't have feet. He walked on just 2 paws. So far this year, no stories have appeared. Have the dogmen gone away? Have they disappeared? Soon enough, I guess we'll know, cause this is the time to fear. For another 10 years has come around, the 7th year is here. And somewhere in the northwest darkness, a creature walks upright. And the best advice you may ever get is never to go out at night.
All right, my beauties and bees, and welcome back to the show. This is our Week in Weird, and we're talking about the lost art of snake charming today. So if you feel like charming a snake, we're going to see and learn how it's done from the actual professionals who charm snakes. Oh, hold on. Gotta get the... Boo, boo, boo. We're gonna, like, I'm gonna speed run it, but, we got a list of different videos, and some of them are longer than others. But we're gonna start with this journeyman picture thing. Hold on, I guess I should get a practice tool. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. can't hear you yet, so don't start talking. Okay. All right.
People like Sutpal make a living from people like me. It's the perfect marriage, the bizarre weaving a spell for the curious. Today I'm planning to see a famous Hindu temple, blending in with local pilgrims to ensure a hassle-free
Feel
visit.
like Willy Wonka.
Okay, so the plan is a little flawed.
I'd rather go and see the temple.
Very good
I do like all kinds of like pitchy
Delhi's
sounds.
hawkers get 10 out of 10 for persistence, but the good travellers never diverted. Never, that is, until, well, bitten by curiosity. How can one not be charmed by the siren call of Sutpal's flute and by a horrid fascination for his wares? Snakes have got a certain fatal attraction, haven't they? Sutpal's been charming cobras out of their baskets since he was a kid. It's been a family business for generations.
He says that they play the music to get the snakes into a good mood.
Are they in a good mood?
आप खुश हैं?
खुश है
कैसे पता आपको?
धुन बजने से
धुन बजने से.
धुन बजने से
Happy, perhaps, but the cobra seems less charmed by cameraman Ron Foley.
नो प्रॉब्लम
Yeah. Just a little surprise.
God damn it, I'm getting roped into this conversation. But you don't want to mess with a viper.
हर सांप का अलग पॉइजन होता है
But this is a killer snake, right?
This is a viper, yeah.
Now, the viper, for instance, is a nasty little brute, and the prudent charmer has a bag of tricks to deal with the odd, inevitable bite.
We're going to do that.
अब जो नाग सांप इनको काटने
Charm
से
me some serpent.
तो इतना असर नहीं करता है आदमी को घंटा 2 घंटा बेहोश कर देता है लेकिन आदमी मर नहीं सकता है
This stuff is also useful if you're bitten, and even if you're smitten.
Got it.
और ऐसा ऐसा चीज होता है जिनको मनमोहनी वशीकरण चीज बोलते हैं
You sure it's not dangerous?
While snakes hold an honoured place in the Hindu religion, I think it's only natural for anyone brought up with Genesis to find them just a little unsympathetic.
That is truly, truly creepy.
Horribly fascinated, I make the fatal mistake of asking the charmers how they catch their snakes. And so begins an odyssey.
Okay, Sabal. Have a look at your village, huh?
I should have checked first how far off the beaten track we had to go, and probably by what various modes of transport.
Trying to figure out what
Charmers,
theater
I
play
discover,
in
have a little secret for whiling away long trips. They stick their hands into a basket
Okay,
and get a
hold on.
nice
I got
little bite.
I got a question here I do want to answer. So, are cobras venomous? Absolutely, cobras are venomous. Cobras, though, are rear fang. That means their fangs are in the back of their mouth. Like, they have to bite and get you, like, in their mouth, and then they have to work their venom into you because their rear fangs are kind of short, too. Vipers are front-fanged, and their fangs are huge, and no, some of them are huge anyway, almost like hypodermic needles. So that's why vipers are so much more dangerous than cobras. And cobras are also like super slow. Well, most snakes are super slow. That's why they're ambush predators. Like if a snake strikes at you and you're aware that it's striking, you can usually get out of the way. I mean, sometimes you can't, but, you know.
The result? Well, provided they choose the right snake, they drift away on a gentle high for a couple of hours.
I actually got bit by a snake at Matt Dillahunty's house a couple of weeks ago. It was a little baby carpet python, though. It didn't hurt at all. Its teeth are like, I guess you could say they're like needles, but like it didn't hurt. It just nipped me. He was showing me the carpet pythons. They had like a whole bunch of them, and it's funny because they had them set up in the bathroom at the time because they were moving stuff around or whatever. But so I'm sitting on the toilet. They were sitting there striking at me while I was sitting there. It was so cute. They were like, "We're going to eat you." They're going to eat me because I'm so yummy. And there was some little guys.
Now, is the king cobra in the left and the poisonous viper in the right?
Get used to that sound because it's going to be playing this whole time.
The other way around. Snake charming is not a big income earner, but it does support Sapal's family, and in fact, everyone else in the village.
Something like that.
उसको भी लगाते हैं रमें देखो जैसे बैठे हुए सब बच्चे बस इसी काम में लगते हैं जिसमें किसी थोड़ा गुंजाइश होता है
Just be nice to snakes. Snakes are our friends. If you have like a fear of snakes, that's fine. Just like avoid them, but like you don't have to kill them.
लिखाने का तो पढ़ा लिखा भी सकते हैं
They
If
trip on
Sapal's
trips.
kids prove bright enough for school, it'll spell the end of a long family tradition. This one?
रीना
Rina. Hello, Rina.
this one राहुल
Raul. Hello, Raul. Oops.
Oh, he's scared.
And this one?
Little baby didn't want to be acknowledged. So, like, snake charmers are mostly like they're like a busker class, right? They're generally very, very poor street performers, and it's practice that's hereditary. But
Your daughter?
we're gonna go out and catch some snacks. We'll catch some snakes.
Well, this is it. We're off on the big snake hunt. And this is all we've got to protect ourselves with. Otherwise, it's just hands and bare feet with snakes that can kill you in 10 minutes flat. Oh, yes. We've also got a bit of music to charm them with. Okay.
Snake.
Yeah, cobra snake. We're soon hot on the trail.
बाजा को इसलिए बजाते हैं ताकि नाग सांप जंगल से मस्त हो जाते हैं
That's a pretty snake. They even while they're out there catching snakes, they're like.
ये नागिन धुनी बाजा होता है इसकी वजह से टोटली नाग ही जब मस्त होते हैं
Bro, stuck on a note.
Frankly, it's all proving a little too easy for my liking. The place seems to be crawling with snakes.
You get bit by a cobra, bro. So pay attention to what they do, because it's more about this than anything. It's more about creating the motion to distract the snake. Because the snake won't strike at its prey until it's like can get a good beat on it. So if you keep the prey moving, that's like just a good trick for reptiles in general too.
ये असली कोबरा जिसको कहते हैं
What you call a real cobra.
खतरनाक चीज होता है जो आदमी को काट लेता है तो 10 मिनट में आदमी का जीवन खत्म कर देता है
By now, brave Ron Foley, the cameraman, is beginning to wish he was back on a war front as he tracks gingerly with our heroes deeper into the undergrowth.
Why are they heroes for going out and grabbing snakes out of the wild and putting them in baskets?
Snake charmers never harm their prey, and they always set them loose after a few months so that they won't die in captivity.
Well, I hope so. Catch and release is okay by me, but I don't think they need to live in a basket for months, though. I think that's kind of cruel.
छुटका दे फिर देखो सर ये भी जंगल का ही अपने आप मिला है
Oh, hell. Oh.
पकड़ लिया
Okay.
स्नेक कलर स्नेक
He is pretty tall.
No problem.
Looks like a giant among these people, but
ओके
I don't think that's a cobra, though.
Oh.
आवाज
Okay, you take him back now.
Okay.
You take him back.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
You want to go crawling through the woods with some snake charmers?
Well, eat your heart out, David Attenborough. We've been here, 40 minutes? We've got 4 snakes, and we haven't come more than about 20 meters into the bush. So I think it's probably time to quit while we're ahead.
Well, they play, I feel like I have to play too.
Never did make it into the temple in the end. Still, I had a picture postcard taken for you all the same.
The snakes can't hear the music. Snakes don't have eardrums. They can feel vibrations, but they only feel. They might feel a little bit of vibration from the music, but most of the vibrations they feel are through the ground.
Good, doesn't it?
All right, snake charmer with 4 cobras. Get back, dude. There's cobras coming out of these baskets. What, are you sweating, bro? And that homie just walked in between there. He's like, whatever, I ain't afraid of your cobras. I wonder if the snakes ever actually bite bystanders. Keep them in little wicker baskets. That one's ready to go. He wants out. Did you just blow on him? I'm using my other hand to open my basket. I'm not going to do that the whole time. So snakes like vibrators. That could be said. That's an argument that could be made. I like the little smiley faces on the back of their heads, though. Eye spots. I'm going to be a cobra. Gotta get that 4th one out. No, what are you doing? Why'd you put him back? Said 4 cobras. And you put 4 baskets out. I only see 3 snakes. And that one's looking at the people. I wonder if they ever try to like run and escape though. Not run, obviously, slither away, but see, it's all about the hand movements. Nope. He goes full Cookie Monster. Uh-oh. Bro's gonna get bit. Cobra says, leave me the fuck alone. I'm out of here. Or a cobra that just like runs away. Into the like trees or something. And that's it. He said 4 cobra. This said 4 cobras. I only saw 3. He puts out 4 baskets. Lets 1 snake out. Let's 2 snakes out. Let's 3 snakes out. That's it. But you said 4 with 4 cobras. We don't even know if there's a cobra in that basket or not. Anyway. Don't try this at home. Yeah, no shit. One of the cobras was being grumpy and didn't want to come out. That's what I think too, Chrissy. Sumami, good morning, sweetie. The snake doesn't care about the music, and they're keeping the snake from being killed by villagers who would otherwise. It's Rajasthani. Tell me if I said that right. Rajasthani music, much better than a bagpipe. It does remind me of a bagpipe in a way. Like, the trill of it. This doesn't sound like a bagpipe though. This is a tin whistle. We had another instrument from the UK though.
This baby one. Video.
Oh, yeah?
You have video?
Yeah.
Video.
No.
The snakes can't even hear the music.
Baby.
But they follow the motion of the thing. And it's also for show because they gotta sell that they're doing something mystical. So as they're street performers, like a street magician. Then how would we tune instruments though? I don't know. The tuning that we picked is just arbitrary. It's like at some point, so some group of people was like, "Oh, that sounds nice. Let's tune it right there." I mean, they're like, I think it was the A note is like 432 or something like that, and he was like, you tune it to 430 around it or whatever, but it's not perfect. So it's like it's not perfect tuning, but. One of these guys is going to get tagged, though, I'm sure. Yeah, I think the music is like to give the feel that the person has control over the situation with the serpent.
This one very happy, sir. Every time this is going this side inside it. Other Friday, 6 days, this one he reaches the jungle.
That's a big boy right there. He starts going towards the cameraman.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Victorious!
Selfie? Like selfie?
No, I'm good. No.
I would totally sit.
Sri Lanka holiday?
I would totally go sit back there. They play the punji to make it seem like the snake is hypnotized. It doesn't care though. Yeah, that's kind of was my thoughts on it. That's kind of what I'm getting at. To me, bagpipes sound lovely, and this music sounds very off. Perhaps what sounds good literally resonates differently. I wonder if they gradually build up immunity to the venom. Well, they were getting high on it. I used to work at a place where they milked snakes. The hardest part were finding their little udders. Ba-doom.
Oh, okay.
6 I 2 Cobra 4. I 3 Cobra 3.
One each.
Yeah, I think most of these snake charmers usually milk their snakes too to keep their venom content and potency low, so that if it bites them, it doesn't actually. It's non-lethal.
Wow.
But the snake can do a dry bite too, which means it won't actually inject venom.
And they like the sound of the music. What's with the sound and the cobra?
Sound music, sir. This is very nice. Looking people, very happy.
Yeah.
Cobra not happy. Cobra only looking this a cup. I show him in the music's cup. Put cobra in the attack. They look very nice video.
Wow.
Only photo very nice. This is Kali box. This one twin.
I didn't hear what he said.
Wow. And they like the sound of the music? What's with the sound on the cobra?
Sound music, sir, this very nice looking people. Looking people very happy.
Yeah.
Cobra not happy. Cobra only looking this cup. I show him in the music cup. Put cobra in the attack.
Yeah, so he's talking about putting the cobra in a trance, but it's actually the movement of the instrument that puts the cobra into the trance, and that's because cobras, snakes in general don't like to strike at a moving target. So usually if you keep them moving, that's why the snake handlers, you see the snake handlers, like the evangelical ones, they be dancing around with the snakes. That's because you keep those snakes moving. They don't strike because they cannot lock in on their target, and they won't strike until they can. So when you're dancing around with the flute in front of them while they're in their basket, they're trying to zero in on it because they can't strike until they do. Same sort of situation.
Cobra is selfie. 3,000 years this one.
Wow.
Sri Lanka.
Wow.
Very antique.
And you never been beaten by any of the cobras?
This cobra not coming.
No?
No, not coming. 3,000 years in cobra the music.
Yeah.
Some cobra coming.
The cobras.
3,000 years.
Wow. Mira, ¿cómo respira? Wow.
4 days I take. 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah, and the cobra just wants to scare you away too. This is a threat display, the whole thing. Barcroft.
मेरा नाम है जी बुधनाथ, मैं सपेरे जाति से ओल्ड फरीदाबाद खेड़ी गांव का रहने वाला हूँ। हमारे दादा परदादा से ये खानदानी हमारा प्रोग्राम है। बीन सांप ये दूर से चला आ रहा परंपरा कहानी। इसी तरीके से चलते चलते जब कुछ कहानी ऐसी बढ़ी आई कि लोगों ने पहले तो ऐसा काम था उस गांव में डेरा डाल दिया, यहाँ से किसी ने नू कह दिया कि यहाँ से जाओ तो आगे उठा के अपना डेरा आगे ले गया, अपने बच्चों को आगे किसी गांव के किनारे पर पड़ गए, वहीं अपने घूमी आना, अपने बच्चों का पालन करना। फिर कुछ गवर्नमेंट से ऐसी आई कि
kids like hanging out with snakes, and like the U.S. people are like, oh my God, so dangerous.
इतने भी गरीब आदमी हैं उनका कोई ठिकाना करा जाए, तो फिर लोगों ने ऐसा है कि गांव के सरपंच से मिलके उनको ठिकाना दिया, उनको घर भी दिया, जगह दी, फिर बनाने के लिए उनको घर भी दिया। तो इसमें हम अपनी मंजिल पे चले आ रहे थे, बच्चों को भी पढ़ा रहे थे।
The government did ban some snake charming. We'll talk about that.
और उनको अपनी कलाकारी भी बता रहे थे, पर एकदम ये जो बंद करवा दिया तो उसमें हमारी समस्या बढ़ गई।
And then some eventually became Romani. The birds became Romani or the monkeys? I like his horn though, it's sexy. His music sounds smoother too. His sounds way better to me than the other ones, but he also looks like his is like fancier and the rest of them look like theirs is maybe homemade. What's this guy doing over here? Holy shit. I want to know his story. The guy with the diamond-crusted staff and the dyed Cheeto orange hair. Birds. Oh, so the Romani evolved into birds, and then monkeys turned into Europeans. So I'm monkey. So mommy says I'm monkey. We sent some music out into space, didn't we, Amber? What songs did we send on it was like a gold album. Oh. It's like, don't touch my butt. Dude did just touch your butt. Tell him not to. Birkenstocks is the shit over here. Look at that. Everybody's got a pair of sandals on. I'm the monkey with the best hat. See, the snake doesn't change its behavior even when he stops playing, as long as he's moving his thing. As long as he's moving the target. That, I like the diamond-studded staff.
3 number গুলডারে
I didn't know he was going to get it,
4
though.
নম্বর বেদিডারে নেউল এইগুলোরই মানে সাথে আর কিছু না তবে যে এলাকায় গুইলার বেদি আছে ওই এলাকায় সাপ নাই দেখছেন শালা খালি ভিটামিন কামড় দেয়
He's not saying anything in English, though, so I don't know.
আর সাপে কামড় দিলে এখন উজা নাই তবে হাসপাতালে ইংলিশ আছে
I love the little smiley faces on the back of their heads, like, have a nice day.
দেখছেন রাস্তায় আচ্ছা এইভাবে যদি রাস্তা বাটায় যদি খারাপ হয়ে থাকে রাত্রে বেলায় আর যদি কেউ না মারতে পারে তাহলে ওই রাস্তাটা 24 ঘন্টা হরতাল আর যদি বাইরে মারে ফেলায় সাহস করে তাহলে হরতাল মরতাল সব পরিষ্কার না অবস্থা করে হ্যাঁ ভাই হরতাল মাস্তা
Was Bohemian Rhapsody on the Voyager disc? Because if it wasn't, that's just a waste of space on the Voyager disc. Homie's getting out snake number 2. It's on now. Look at this guy mean bugging him back here. What's his problem? See, even when he's not playing, he just keep it out there. The snake's more like looking around. Now it's like, hey, can I get out of here? Oh, there's Steve. The magic snake charming pole. They dance together. That's going to be... Every time we drop a bomb, children. Sorry, it sounds like a System of a Down song. Please say good silence and sleep. These are adult cobras. It's just this is a taller species. This is the main cobra. They average about 6 feet. Look it up. So I'm talking to my ass. Naja, Naja. 3.3 to 4.9 feet. So yeah, about 3 to 5 feet. Although some specimens, particularly those in Sri Lanka, may grow up to lengths of 6.9 to 7.2 feet. So they get pretty long, but average is about this size. So, D-Park says it just seems mean to the snakes. It does seem kind of cruel to put them in these little boxes. And then Tsumami answered that it's that they get killed by villagers who don't give a shit because they make enough money to not resort to snake charming and don't hold the snakes in high regard like Nagas do. So, like it's like a cultural conservation effort. Are those king cobras just bitch ass snakes? A rattler viper could chomp him down. King cobras eat other snakes. A king cobra would eat. They eat vipers. They eat. They don't eat rattlers because there's no rattlers in their environment. But that's what a king. Like anytime you see a snake with king in its name, it means it's opophagous, which means it eats other snakes. And usually they eat other venomous snakes too. And they can eat pythons and things like that as well. These are not king cobras, and king cobras. The irony about that is they're not even technically, they're not even cobras, right? But these are naja. These are Indian cobras. These are the traditional cobras of this practice. Is what we're seeing here. What are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that blanket, sir? I don't like that. There's a little one in there. I think that little one might be a viper. Yeah. Kind of viper. That's why it's not standing up in a threat display like the cobras are.
তবে ভাইদের কাছে একটা অনুরোধ থাকবে আমার বাসাটা এখানে এই মাঠে স্কুলের মাঠে যদি সাপ থাকে আমার একটু নিয়ে যান ফোন দিয়ে
So this is the so it's not always cobras. We've seen a lot of other snakes.
আমি ধরে নিয়ে আসবো এই যে ভাই আমি নিয়ে যাব আছে তবে ধরলে আমার একটু লাভ কেন সাপ আমি একটা ফাটাইছি কয়েকদিন আগে
What species is it? What species is Mr. Bitey? Mr. Bitey, what species are you? It doesn't seem to be work charming. It doesn't seem to be charming them. Sneaky's worked up. And look, there's a little bitey guy just poking his head out. Up there. See him? See Mr. Bitey?
আমি নামটা করে দেবো খালি তুলবেন আর তবে কিনলে কাজ হবে না খালি তুলবেন আর কাজে লাগাবেন কিনলে কাজ হইতো না না যে কোনো জায়গায় কিনলে কাজ হইতো না তবে তুললে খাবেন আর কাজে লাগাবেন
ওই গাছটা হলো সীমাশয় গাছ
হ্যাঁ আমি বলে দেই
He's gonna get Mr. Bitey out.
এটা ফোনা ধরবে না এটা হলো গরু সুর
এটা আপনি এখানে টুকুর মারবো
That's not a... I thought it was a viper. I don't think it is, though. It's a cobra of some kind. It's not a cobra, though. Any idea? I'm usually pretty good at IDing. Arboreal. It's arboreal.
মারামারি করতে গেলে কিছু লাগে ভাই তাহলে এই সামনে এই যে ভাই বাবা মারে দেন শালা বিদেশি হ্যান্ডকাপ মারছে এটাই মারে হ্যাঁ এই দেন পুলিশও হ্যান্ডকাপ মারে এইটাও হ্যান্ডকাপ দেয় হ্যাঁ ঢুকলে না কি করে খালি কথা এটা থাকে না কামড় দেয় নি এটা কামড় দেয় না মধ্যে মধ্যে ঠকুর মারে ভিটামিন ঠকুর আর ঠকুর দিলে মমি সিং সরফরা যেমন যায় অ্যাম্বুলেন্স দিয়া তবে ওখানে যা খরচ লাগে হাসপাতাল हाँ भाई अरे विटामिन भाई तो एमনি ভিটামিন আছে হ্যাঁ দুটো সাপ আছে ওরা কালকা
I was just telling everybody I got bit by one of the babies at Matt's house when I was there in a couple weeks ago. I get a little baby snake bit me. It was cute. Him saw he was so tough. Eat me up. He's a baby. He was a sweetie heart. I also got to hold the big blue tongue though. I got to hold all kinds of snakes while I was there. There's some of the snakes are so pretty. Matt and Arden have some of the most beautiful reptiles. And I got to help count the zebra skinks while I was there, so that was fun. They're baby zebra skinks, so they were tiny, tiny. Ooh. Hello, python. Hello, cobra. That's what we doing. Snake charmer of Kenya. You can have a flute.
What will you do if a snake slithered into your house? Will you run away? Will you rattle it? Well, a group of young men in Ukunda, Kwale County have started a conservation project to conserve the reptiles. Well, now follow me as we take a look at this unique project.
Neat. Okay, this is cool. Not really the type of snake charming I was talking about, though. They're not taking any kind of mystical claims, I don't think.
Niko na ile talent niko nayo. Nakubali. Na watu wamekubali. Community pia wamekubali. Niko na hiyo talent. Yaani nikiangalia nyoka hivi naweza kuambia anauma, naweza kuambia ni mjamzito, naweza kuambia ni crazy. Nikaona sasa badala ya kuua, si ningejaribu ku-invest ama nimejaribu kufuga na nikajaribu kupata kipato na hizi nyoka.
I like you guys, but this isn't the topic that we're talking about right now. This seems like snake charming by, well, I mean, dancing with him, that's pretty cool.
Thank you all so much for getting the channel to 300 subscribers. I want to do a special 300 sub video, so please comment your ideas below.
I remember when I got
Thanks
300
again, and
subscribers. Go.
Snake charming is a well-known practice in many Asian and North African countries. It is the art of making a snake bend to your musical charm, taking a venomous animal and putting it into a trance. In this video, we talk about the practice of snake charming. How did it come to be? How did it actually work? And if it's still common today. The practice of snake charming is believed to have been originated in ancient Egypt. However, the type of snake charming most of us know originated in what is today India. Snake charming is the act of making a snake rise out of a container to the sound of a wind instrument known as a pungi. As the charmer played the pungi, the snake enters a trance, going from potentially deadly to practically harmless. However, is this actually the case? Kinda? While the charmer is making the snake rise up and the pungi is playing a key role in the process, it's not the sound of the pungi that's making the snake behave the way it is.
I guess that's what I've been hammering away at.
Rather, it's the waving motion that the charmer uses. While snakes can pick up vibrations, they do not have outer ears. Therefore, they cannot hear the music coming from the pungi. What they are reacting to is the waving motion the charmer does with the pungi. The snake, usually a cobra of some sort, sees this waving motion as a threat, which is why it rises up and locks onto it. What the charmer is doing is basically just aggravating the snake. Now, is the charmer...
Yeah, you give him kind of like a, come at me, bro, come at me. Yeah, you can't get me, come at me. Except for the whole time they're doing it, they're going...
in any danger? Well, that depends. Snake charming is usually passed down from generation to generation, and prospective snake charmers usually apprentice first before going out on their own. As for the snake itself, it depends on the region. In North Africa, the snake's mouth is usually closed to where only the tongue can stick out. This is because some people in North Africa believe that the snake's venom is located in the tongue, so having its tongue still exposed keeps that veil of danger. This practice often leads to the snake
the venom stored in the tongue, who knew?
Dying from starvation or infection. In India, mouth binding is done as well, but it's also common to see snakes defanged with their venom glands incapacitated. To additionally lower the risk, the snakes are often intentionally dehydrated. This makes them sluggish and easier to deal with during a performance. All of these methods have led to the practice being relatively shunned in modern times. Even in India, where the practice is said to have become popular, it is today banned, having been banned in 1972 as part of a Wildlife Protection Act. This doesn't mean snake charming isn't still practiced. In fact, in many lesser populated regions of India, you can still find snake charmers. However, it is next to impossible to make a living solely off of snake charming today. Many snake charmers...
because you're basically busking.
...live in relative squalor, relying on selling goods and practicing as healers in order to get by. These bans had a split effect. While they helped to protect the snakes, they also crippled a century.
Did they protect the snakes though? Because if people are like, oh, instead of giving them to the snake charmers, let's just chop their heads off. Seems to be the majority of human responses.
Cultural tradition. This led to a variety of protests, with a group of snake charmers gathering at the temple of Charkidadri in 2003, and even more storming the legislature of Odisha in 2004 to voice their concerns. It has been proposed that a modification could be made to the laws to benefit both the snakes and the snake charmers. Many suggest having charmers trained to be proper snake handlers that can go in and remove venomous snakes from areas. There are many snake
That's a good idea.
Charmers that already do this on the side. Others propose that the charmers can remove the snake element altogether and become street musicians, utilizing their pungis. Either way, this is still a debated topic in India and other countries where snake charming is performed. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, take care.
Some pungi. Oh, this one's long. Dwayne. Okay. What are we doing? Is this all prep for snake charming or just... What are we doing?
My name is Sauji Nath. I live in the village of Dhrangadra. 100 years ago, we snake charmers known as Pulwadi Madari's clan lived in the town of Pali in the district of Jodhpur. From Pali, the Madari moved a lot like nomads. They kept donkeys and camels. On top of the donkeys lay a blanket with pockets. Children sat on top of the camel.
Yeah, it was
From town to town they went.
Was a cobra goddess too, right? A winged
staying
cobra?
a few days here and there like nomads. Slowly, 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 they came to a town called Bhuj. Stories arose of a magic snake called Bhujionag. The snake from Bhuj had a magical jewel on its head called a money. The Bhujionag was very powerful.
Pujyanag?
There were 4 brothers, Lalwadi, Phulwadi, Dhantarved and Jumovadan. They heard the story of the magic snake. They wanted to catch the snake and take its money. Jumovadan, a snake charmer, was
doing
a great magician.
a puja first.
He walked on air and he could fell
Probably asking for protection to not get bit. Well, that's probably a good idea.
a bird mid-flight. He could kill the trees and plants with one spell, or conjure up plants and animals with another. So, the snake charmer Jumovadan learned of the snake with the magic jewel. He was so happy. The 4 Madari brothers wanted to capture the snake's magic. The snake with the money found out about this. So he burrowed away into his anthill home located in Bhuj mountain. One brother, Lalwadi, found the anthill that the snake was hiding in. The brothers played their flutes by the anthill to hypnotize the snake. The youngest brother exclaimed, "We can't capture the snake with this sort of magic." "So how?" asked the other brother. "If he comes out, then his extraordinary powers will overwhelm us. The snake will burn us alive. Then how can we catch it?"
They're so cute, aren't they?
"Go to the potter,
I think they're so cute.
bring 7 unfired round clay pots and put them in a line." So one brother went to get the 7 clay pots. They put the pots in front of the anthill. The brothers played 4 magical ragas from their flutes. The snake poked his head out from inside the hole. He struck one of the pots and it was fired on the spot. The brothers played their flutes again and the snake re-emerged. He struck the second pot and it became fired. They played their flutes again and the snake reappeared. It struck the third pot and it also became fired. They played a raga on their flutes again.
So snakes can fire pots? Neat.
The snake emerged. The snake struck the 4th pot and it became hard. The Madari played their flutes once again, and again the snake arose. It struck the 5th pot, and it also became hard all over. The Madari played their flutes once more, and the snake peeked out again. It struck the 6th clay pot, and it became fire. They played their flutes once again to enchant the snake. It struck the 7th and final pot, and it broke into pieces. The snake's magic powers had become very weak after striking the 7th pot.
So they tricked the snake into exhausting its venom, which I guess is what they're calling magic powers here.
So the Madari brothers captured the snake and took the jewel from its head, the money. They were happy with the money because no one else had it, not even the king. They celebrated and were overjoyed. With the money, they could do so many magical things. They went to their home, which was far from the city. At midnight, the snake sat on the king's chest. Anything they asked in return for it. The snake warned the king that if he did not get back his money, he would kill the king with his bite.
Okay, I don't know if this
The king
is...
told the snake,
Hi, I'm Danielle Dufault, and you're
That's not
watching
what I
Animal
wanted to do.
Logic.
That's not what I wanted to do. So I think that's it for the playlist on this. Yeah. But that was just kind of like, I guess, the mythology about it. But I'm not really going to cover that any more in depth. So as far as snake charming goes, what do you all think? Basically, I'm pretty solid about it being just this being the answer more so than any of that, right? I'm pretty sure that it's the dancing flute. Because, yeah, snakes don't have ears and all that. But it's street magic, right? It's up close magic, street magic. It's just a traditional kind from India, which is in North Africa. I guess they say that it originated in Egypt, but it took off in India. But yeah, what do you guys think? Just let me know in the comments, and please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. All right, again, I say don't go away, because we still have more show to come. We are going to be talking about the Crocodile Massacre of Remory Island after we come back from this next intermission. So I will see you guys in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Right back with more show. Hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to Bree's Bestiary, the segment of the show where I explore the world of animals and animal folklore. This summer we've been doing the Summer of the Maneater, and I'm going to continue it on into the fall probably, so we're going to keep it going because I've enjoyed doing it. But this topic actually was supposed to be the one that came up on the week that I was in Austin, so I shuffled it back to the back burner, and now it is time to cover the topic. This is a bit folkloric too. This one's not. Well, this video actually covers it pretty decently. Talking about why it's folklore and things like the Indianapolis shark attacks. Those are there's a lot of folklore tied into that too. So a lot of these war stories about people getting eaten by animals get a little sus.
In the mid-1940s, the Second World War was nearing its end. And the Second World War doesn't exactly have a shortage of horrible stories. One of these stories took place on an island off the coast of Burma, also known as Myanmar, where hundreds of Japanese soldiers would allegedly perish in what has become known as the Ramri Island Crocodile Massacre. The largest island in the entire Rakhine coast, Ramri Island is separated from the mainland by a narrow canal-like strait. Despite being originally used as a trading post for the Kingdom of Maracaibo, the island is known for the events that took place during the Second World War.
All right.
During
so
the early...
I guess I want to look at Ramri Island real quick before we move too far. So Ramri Island is off the west coast of Myanmar, right? And it is basically just a giant swamp. Like, I don't know if we can drop down in there or not, but yeah, let's do it. Oh, that's a beautiful temple, not a swamp. A beautiful temple. Looking for someplace more natural, though. Let's try this. Oh. Yeah, this is more what you expect to see on Ramri Island. And there could be... trying to see if we can get into the swamp. There's a lot of this seems to be... which is to be expected, but around urban areas where there'd be more pictures. But yeah, you can see it's pretty tropical and a little marshy, even around human settlements. Ooh, that's a pretty temple. Look at that one. Freaking so cool. What a cool place. I want to go to Burma. Or Myanmar, I guess, but not right now because it's pretty... there's a lot of problems there. I'm not going to get into it right now.
Stages of what is known as the Burma campaign, the island would be captured along with the rest of southern Burma. Burma was part of the
It doesn't have ogres, it's a sparkling wetland.
British Empire during the Second World War, and it would be captured by the Japanese, which meant that the Burma campaign was fought primarily between the British and Japanese Empire for control of this colony. Britain was on one side alongside China and support from the US. The other side was the invading armies of Japan, which were supported by Thailand and the Indian National Army. The campaign began in 1942 after 4 years of planning, when Japan invaded Burma. After the capture of Rangoon, which is the capital of Burma, in March 1942, the Japanese forces began to drive the British out of the country. Several failed offensives to retake these lost territories would be launched in 1942 and 1943 by the International Allied Force in British India, but Japan would successfully hold the island until 1945. In January 1945, the Allied forces launched Operation Matador to retake Ramri Island and the neighboring islands. The British and Indian forces attacked the island with 6,000 soldiers, and the following battle would last for about 6 weeks. The battle would eventually reach a standstill, and this standstill would last until the British Royal Marines alongside the 36th Indian Infantry Brigade outflanked a Japanese position. By doing this, Allied forces were able to split the remaining party in two, which left a group of around 1,000 Japanese soldiers isolated and trapped. The British soldiers would urge these isolated Japanese troops to surrender to avoid further bloodshed. The Japanese soldiers were exhausted and some were wounded from the battle, but they remained defiant. So, instead of surrendering, they decided to abandon the base and try to reach the larger force of Japanese soldiers across the island. And this decision would take them into the swamps. To reach the larger force, the Japanese soldiers would have to make a 9-mile journey through a mangrove swamp, with, of course, the British pursuing them.
I'm being annoyed by people. I need to just not pay attention to my social media right now and pay attention to my crocodiles.
Mangrove swamps of Ramree Island were treacherous, and the British soldiers decided not to follow the Japanese soldiers into the swamp. Instead, the British decided to set up a perimeter around the thick wilderness to monitor and wait for any of the Japanese soldiers to emerge from the swamp. Of the soldiers, only an estimated 450 to 500 men managed to escape the swamp, and 20 of these men would be captured by the British forces waiting just outside the swamp. The mangrove swamp of the island was thick with mud, and going through it was a struggle. So while
I guess they're Japanese soldiers, so there's like a big dishonor in surrendering, right? Like they would rather die than surrender. That's, what they call it, where they fall on the swords and stuff. Tsubukai. No, it's not Sudoku. But anyway, so I guess sacrificing yourself to crocodiles is better than being captured.
Struggling through the deep mud, the soldiers began to succumb to tropical diseases, dehydration, and starvation. They also had to deal with mosquitoes, spiders, snakes, and scorpions that were hiding in the thick forest.
She keeps talking about the scorpions like they were a real problem, but there's not scorpions in this area that are really going to be too... they can sting you and it'll hurt, but they're not like deadly scorpions or deadly spiders for that matter. Seppuku, thank you.
But the biggest danger was the one that was lurking in the muddy water. Saltwater crocodiles. The saltwater crocodile is the largest of all living reptiles. An amphibious creature, the saltwater...
It is also the sexiest of all living reptiles. Because who's going to tell him he's not sexy when he's a 23-foot-long saltwater crocodile?
Crocodile can be found in habitats near the coast, such as rivers, swamps, billabongs, beaches, and sometimes even the open sea. They are highly territorial and can be very aggressive towards any creature entering their territory. They are also opportunistic predators, meaning that they will prey on any animal. So as these Japanese
saltwater crocodiles are one of the animals that views us as just like, hey, this is part of my natural diet. Is these monkeys, these tall hairless monkeys? They're just part of what I eat, and they have been eating us for tens of thousands of years. We're on the menu.
Ventured deeper and deeper into the swamp. They would soon come face to face with these ancient creatures. And they never stood a chance.
Yeah, a lot of this footage is not actually crocodiles. A lot of it is gators and caiman and stuff, too.
The survivors that were
captured... stock footage, though.
...captured by the British would reportedly tell horrific stories of the crocodiles attacking their fellow soldiers as they moved deeper into the swamp. These crocodiles would appear seemingly out of nowhere to drag some of the soldiers off. And it only got worse as it got dark, with the sounds of men screaming, gunfire, and animal attacks echoing through the area. A veteran of the Burma campaign named Bruce Wright would give this written account in his 1962 collection Wildlife Sketches Near and Far. That night was the most horrible that any member of the motor launch crews ever experienced. The scattered...
See, even the way the narrative is laid out, it very much reminds me of the Indianapolis survivors stories and how they talk about the sharks. It also honestly reminds me of Quint's tale when he's talking about the Indianapolis and Jaws.
Rifle shots in the pitch-black swamp, punctured by the screams of wounded men crushed in the jaws of huge reptiles, and the blurred, worrying sound of spinning crocodiles made a cacophony of hell that has rarely been duplicated on Earth. At dawn, the vultures arrived to clean up what the crocodiles had left. He also reiterated that only 20 of the men were found alive. Bruce Wright is not only a veteran of the Burma campaign, he's also credited for the idea of so-called frogmen units, meaning soldiers that were trained to use scuba diving equipment to get close.
So, the number of people that they say are eaten here goes up and down. It gets crazy, like 500 people. How many crocodiles do they think are in this swamp?
Close to and observe the enemy. This idea of Wright's was put into action, and Wright was appointed lieutenant commander with orders to form the Sea Reconnaissance Unit. While performing his duties, Wright...
Jester just gifted... or no, they didn't gift. They celebrated their 10-month membership as a Cryptic Creeper. Thank you so much, Jester, for sticking around and being part of the Hive for a full 10 months. That's amazing.
Also spent hours documenting the local sea life.
Like a doll's eyes. Me and Ben went and saw that on the big screen at the Alamo a couple weeks back. They had like special Jaws drinks and stuff. It was fun. We went and watched the old Jaws. We watched the old Nightmare on Elm Street too, the original one, the first one.
Would become a respected wildlife biologist and author after the war. He is also credited as being the main source for the Ramree Island massacre. Another account about the attack comes from Lieutenant General Jack Jacob, who recounted his experiences during the battle in his memoir, An Odyssey in War and Peace, where he wrote, over 1,000 soldiers of the Japanese garrison retreated into the crocodile-infested mangrove swamps. We went in with boats and interpreters using loud hailers asking them to come out. Not a single one did. Saltwater crocodiles, some of them well over 20 feet long, frequented these waters. It's not difficult to imagine what happened to the Japanese who took refuge in the mangroves. And another veteran of the 26th
That's terrifying.
Division, named Robert Duff, would record an oral history for the BBC in 2006. He stated that they were able to push the Japanese soldiers to the swamp on the other side of the island. The soldiers knew that the swamp was filled with crocodiles, but they decided to take their chances in the swamp rather than surrendering. And according to Duff, only a handful of these soldiers came out alive.
Seppuku by crocodile sounds just terrible and frightening.
The story of the Ramree massacre was reported in several papers, but the tale is still largely unverified. But despite that, the massacre would be named in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most number of fatalities.
Yeah, the Guinness Book of World Record had me believing all kinds of BS, though, growing up. I thought that there'd been a 35-foot great white shark caught at one point. I believed all kinds of BS because of the Guinness Book of World Records.
In a crocodile attack. There is some skepticism regarding this incident. But the skepticism isn't that crocodiles took the lives of some of these men, rather the numbers. It's practically impossible to know for sure how many of those men were taken by the crocodiles and how many of them succumbed to disease, dehydration, or starvation, not to mention the fact that there were scorpions, mosquitoes, and venomous snakes. Bruce Wright's quote about the incident is the most well-known in association to this event, But it's important to remember that he never claimed that he personally witnessed this massacre.
That would be my speculation about a lot of them. I'm sure that there were people killed by crocodiles, chased by crocodiles, and eaten by crocodiles. But I don't think all the soldiers, or even a large portion of them, could have accounted for it.
In his memoir, The Frogmen of Burma from 1968, Wright described how he arrived on Ramree after the main battle had been concluded. He then spoke with other members of his Sea Reconnaissance Unit. 2 of these men would abandon their paddleboards during the Battle of Ramree and climb up a mangrove tree to avoid a crocodile. It was when they were up in this tree that they heard the shouting and gunfire coming from the swamp. Another writer, herpetologist Stephen Platt, also pointed out that
herpetologist.
While other chapters in Wright's book were told in first person, the account of the Battle of Ramree Island was told in the third person, which to him indicated that Wright was repeating a story that he had been told by someone else, and
Makes
not
sense.
something that he experienced himself. And Platt also points out that Wright never claimed that the crocodiles were solely responsible for the deaths of these soldiers. The reason this is important to remember is that Wright's reputation as a respected wildlife biologist and author, not to mention his work with the frogmen, led to his quote about the Battle of Ramree being accepted as fact, even though he never claimed that it was. So the numbers is very much in question,
Now that's
which
a
made people
crocodile.
look at the crocodiles.
That looks like a
Is it
Nile
possible
crocodile.
that crocodiles could be responsible for that many deaths? Saltwater crocodiles are regarded as being very dangerous to humans. Up to 1,000 human deaths per year are attributed.
His big old fat cheeks, though. I want to squeeze them. I want to go squeeze them. I know he would devour me and would not even think twice about it. But I love him and want to squeeze his cheeks.
To these reptiles. One example of this is in Uganda, where one crocodile, which would be given the name Osama, would terrorize a village for 14 years. Between 1991 and 2005, this 16 feet or almost 5 meters long crocodile allegedly attacked and ate about 83 people. According to some reports, this crocodile would emerge from Lake Victoria to snatch children that got too close to the water. It was also
Lake Victoria is crazy too. They have vacation spots. There's a channel I was watching where this woman was swimming in Lake Victoria. I'm like, do you not know about the crocodiles?
said to intentionally swim beneath fishing boats to capsize them. This crocodile, Osama, which was estimated to be around 75 years old, was captured in 2005 and then sent to captivity. And that's just one example of a very dangerous crocodile. So, like I said, no one
President cite Gustav
doubts that crocodiles
But that, to be clear, was not a salty. That's a Nile crocodile.
attack the soldiers. It's the numbers that people have a problem with. Crocodiles form groups called basques. Basques can have as many as 20 or more crocodiles in them. And these groups are formed so that the reptiles can take turns hunting and resting, and also to keep the younger generation of crocodiles safe. So if we imagine that the swamps of Ramree had several of these basques spread out over several miles, there might have been hundreds of crocodiles in that swamp if the crocodiles are truly responsible for the deaths of 400 to 500 soldiers, which a lot of people don't think is feasible.
That's an alligator.
The average crocodile eats up to 2 kilos of meat per day. If there
is it a
were
black
hundreds
caiman?
of crocodiles in
The eyebrows make me think it might be a caiman.
swamp, what did they eat? Was there really enough food in that swamp?
I know they're not really eyebrows, but
to sustain that many crocodiles? Many zoologists and historians doubt this. One such is historian Frank McLean, who in his 2011 analysis of the Burma campaign wrote, "If thousands of crocodiles were involved in the massacre, as in the urban myth, How had these ravening monsters survived before, and how were they to survive later? The ecosystem of a mangrove swamp with an exiguous mammal life simply would not have permitted the existence of so many saurians before the coming of the Japanese. Animals are not exempt from the laws of overpopulation and starvation.
Yeah, that's a good point. The ecology needed to sustain a crocodile population that could kill 500, or was it 500 soldiers? Yeah.
While the numbers are unclear, some reports say that circa 500 soldiers fled, 20 were captured, and 500 soldiers died. But it's very unclear and unlikely that all of those deaths were purely due to the crocodiles. As I've mentioned in this video, there were many dangers in that swamp that could have taken the lives of
I mean, I would agree that dozens of people could have been killed by crocodiles.
These soldiers. Diseases, scorpions, mosquitoes, exhaustion.
Scorpions are not going to kill any... Okay.
Snake bites, drowning, and previous injuries. Not to mention that some of the soldiers might even have gotten delirious and drawn their weapon on their fellow soldier, thinking that it was the enemy. And it's also possible that some of the soldiers made it out of the swamp and escaped into the mainland without the British soldiers realizing. There is no doubt whatsoever that crocodiles were responsible for some of the deaths. In fact, there were even reports that crocodiles were seen...
Saurian, yeah, it just means like... reptile-like, I guess is the best way to use it.
Eating human bodies the very next day. So the crocodiles absolutely attacked these Japanese soldiers, but they were not solely responsible. The interesting thing is though that even if the numbers are not as high as the legend says, the Battle of Ramree Island might still be the deadliest crocodile attack in recorded history.
That's probably true. All right. So, that was just a little snippet about the crocodiles of Ramree and the alleged death of at least dozens, I'll say dozens of Japanese soldiers in the jaws of these giant reptiles. So thank you so much for joining us for Breeze of Bestiary. Next week, we will have, what we got for the beastie next week? Man-eating pumas. Well, there you have it. We're going to have man-eating mountain lions. So check that out next week. Also, Monday, we are back at it with the... Charlatan's Web, and I will have Chris Mallard, the Daily Atheist morning show's Chris Mallard, on, and it looks like we're talking about Raelians, the Raelian movement and alien eugenics. It's going to be a wild ride. So that's going to be Charlatan's Web on Monday, and it should be, I think, Monday evening. Anyway, appreciate everybody for sticking with me and hanging around while I got through today's topics. We had the Ontario Black Panther for our Cryptic Corner. We had the Snake Charmers for our Week in Weird. And then we wrapped things up with some crocodiles that allegedly ate a lot of people. So, please remember to be kind, take care, and we'll see you next time.